So I recently made a video kind of talking about all the latest leaks that we had with the new MCU Spider-Man 4 movie, and after all, there were quite a lot of leaks on it. There were almost as many leaks for that movie that we got to see with Overtime Megan like a year or so ago, but it turns out not all of them may be potentially true, or most of them may have been true and are being thrown out the window with a new current report saying that the Spider-Man 4 script is facing issues and may be reportedly rewritten. According to insider Daniel RPK, Marvel's Spider-Man 4 script is reportedly facing issues and is being rewritten. Following the success of No Way Home, Kevin Feige and Sony felt pressured and want to deliver something better. Now look, this is coming from Daniel RPK, who's one of the best leakers and scoop guys in the game, so there is definitely a lot of truth to this, and in my opinion, if I had to say, I think the Spider-Man 4 script will be one of the hardest all-time scripts to probably write, because you have legitimate two studios here who want completely different things, who are going head-to-head, and they both have, good reasons to have what they want. Of course, Sony want this big, massive, multiversal movie because the last movie did so well and it was multiversal. Their animation movies did so well and they are multiversal. And Sony arguing, well, this is the multiversal saga, so why would the film not be multiversal, right? And then Marvel are coming at it with this direction of, well, Spider-Man No Way Home ended up setting the fourth movie to be really a straight level film. But even though it makes sense to be a straight level film, and that's kind of the direction that we all want deep down inside, it doesn't really make sense with how the movie's being released and positioned to be a straight level film, considering it's taking place in between the Doomsday and Secret Wars Avengers movies, and we're in the multiversal saga like Sony are arguing. So to kind of make both parties happy and to make Tom Holland happy, who wants a straight level movie, they are having to do, I think, both, and they are turning this into something that doesn't really have too much of a direction. Now, you can of course have the direction be it's a mixture of both, but that is 100 times harder to do than just have this as a multiversal or have this as a straight level film. It's gonna, I think, distract from each point no matter what way they're gonna go about this. So it is a difficult thing, and I think that's why the script is being semi-rewritten, and I think what the movie idea is originally going to be is probably not what we are going to see in the cinemas in, of course, mid 2026. So it will be interesting to see what the final product of this is. Again, as mentioned earlier in the leaks, we do know that the film is supposed to have symbiotes in the story. Daredevil is supposed to be in it, and there's not supposed to be much MJ at all. Again, I've talked about it 100 times, but I like the idea of not having much MJ. I didn't like Zendaya and her character, and I think it's time for Peter to have a more mature, serious love interest like Black Cat. For the symbiotes, which I haven't touched on much yet, I do think the symbiotes actually make semi-sense now, especially if this is a big multiversal movie. I genuinely believe if you are going to have the symbiotes in this film, though, I think you have to carry it on to being a multi-film thing. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe at the end of Doomsday, Peter Parker, he could possibly die, and it could be that situation like in the Craven comics where he does get put in the grave and the symbiote brings him back to life. We could see something like that at the end of Doomsday, or we could see something like that at the end of Spider-Man 4. At the end of the day, there are a lot of different themes and a lot of different ideas from the comics they can do, and with the complaints of Spider-Man 3 not having a fleshed out symbiote story, the Marvel Spider-Man 2 game even, which had at least like 10 hours of symbiote story, be flamed as well online for not having enough. You really do need to, I think, make the fans happy here, and if you are going to introduce the symbiotes, this has to be a multi-movie story, and this could be another way that maybe Marvel and Sony are struggling with this script. And the reason I say that is because if this does become a multi-movie thing and this goes into Spider-Man 5, if Spider-Man 5 does become the straight level movie that Marvel want it to be, which it probably will be because the multiversal saga will be over, I'm not too sure how street level a big symbiote story is going to be. Of course, you can have him wear the symbiote and it be street level, I suppose, but with Spider-Man 4 and Secret Wars probably introducing a lot more to that symbiote storyline, which maybe has something to do with Tom Hardy's Venom, we really don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they do, put the pieces all together on this. So in my opinion, I would like the symbiote story to run for at least 3 movies, maybe. That being maybe a Spider-Man 4, an Avengers Secret Wars, and a Spider-Man 5. I think you have to really give, this story justice and really have the symbiotes for the first time ever be on screen for a long time. And the way I suggest doing that is he gets it at the start of maybe Spider-Man 4. Maybe at the end, he of course dies, but the symbiote, keeps him alive. It frees him from the grave. In Secret Wars, he's fighting and doing this thing, realizing how much the symbiote makes him stronger and how it saved his life. Maybe Toby and Andrew convince him to take it off because Toby's been there and done that and know what it can lead to. Maybe they, of course, fail. And then in Spider-Man 5, that's where we see him almost turn into Venom. And then he, of course, maybe takes it off at the end, which could possibly introduce a villainous Venom or something for Spider-Man 6. How cool would that be if that was how the symbiote storyline really was? Like a whole trilogy of movies that have something to do with the symbiote. And by we get to, Spider-Man 6, which is the third in the trilogy, how awesome would it be if we actually got a venomous, an evil Venom on screen, like much different to the Tom Hardy Venoms that have been anti-heroes, very light comedic characters. How cool would it be if we got a very venomous villain, no pun intended, like Venom in the game and like even Venom in Spider-Man 3. Again, I think that would be really awesome to see, and I really do hope that this symbiote storyline does last quite a while. So as reported on the channel, we know that the MCU Spider-Man 4 movie is currently facing script issues and doesn't really look like it's going to what Marvel thought it was going to be. Again, there's a new report that has come out right now that does say that the script for Spider-Man 4 is still being rewritten, and this is all being reported by Daniel RPK. And this is super concerning, considering the film is supposed to come out like middle of 2026. You would think that this film is going to start filming probably in a couple months, and they don't even have a script that is looking like it is being ready. Again, I'm not exactly too sure what is going on here, but we do know that Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal are reportedly under a ton of pressure as they believe they need to make Spider-Man 4 bigger and better than Spider-Man No Way Home. And look, usually I would say that a movie doesn't always have to be this bigger movie to be better, right? But with how they've talked about this being a bridge movie of Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, you kind of have to have this movie be bigger, and it's probably going to be more of a multiversal film like we've heard, just because how are you going to have a grounded movie in the middle of these two massive multiversal Marvel movies in the multiversal saga? Again, it doesn't make any sense, and that's why they are legitimately struggling and can't come up with a genuine script idea. Again, Daniel RPK, interestingly enough, did confirm that Scorpion and Shocker were two major villains that were in the original script that has now been scrapped. So, will the Scorpion and will Shocker return in Spider-Man 4? I'm not exactly too sure, and it's really hard to see now where this movie is going. Again, from the most recent leaks, it does look like we're going to be getting symbiotes in this film, which I think is actually perfect and makes a whole lot of sense. Again, I've said it before, I think we can have symbiotes without them needing to do this massive Venom story and all of these type of things, right? I think it would be cool if maybe in the end of Doomsday, he gets the symbiote suit. In Spider-Man 4, he's got the symbiote suit, and maybe symbiotes are in it or something like that. And then you have Secret Wars. It keeps elevating, and then maybe he takes it off in Spider-Man 5, and that's where the Venom story comes in. Again, I think to have a good symbiote story and a good Venom story nowadays, you have to make it long, and it has to be over a couple movies. The knock on Spider-Man 3, which I still love to this day, but the knock by people is there's not enough Venom and not enough symbiote in that story. It's too short. It needed to be much bigger. Then Marvel Spider-Man 2 had about 10 hours of symbiote story, and even that wasn't big enough for people, and people wanted more. So I think if you bring the symbiotes into live action, you have to have them over multiple movies. Scorpion and Shocker are interesting because I think the Scorpion would be cool to be a villain of Spider-Man 4, especially if these guys are hired by Kingpin, and Kingpin is maybe the main villain of this movie, and hiring him and Shocker to go against Spider-Man. But even I'm still doubtful on that. I still don't know what the direction is of this, and I'm hoping to be really surprised and that this movie is going to be absolutely solid. But just from everything we've heard, all the reports and news and whatnot, it does seem like they're in development hell with this at the moment, and they really don't know where to go next. And this is super concerning because I think some reports have even said they have to have this script done in like a month or two, and they are rewriting it. They are in the middle of rewriting this script, and they could get to the end of it and be like, we don't even like this script, and we need to rewrite it again. Oh my god. And yeah, it is a weird scenario right now for Marvel Spider-Man 4. It is in a very sticky spot, a very weird situation, and I'm not even too sure how they're all going to handle this. So I'm very interested to see. Of course, again, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. What are you guys thinking about Electro and Shocker being in the original script, and could they still be in the new one? I'm going to very much like to know. Subscribe to my sports channel, MIRL/vlog channels, which will be getting linked down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.